So this property back here, we've got a really nice parking lot. It's got bathrooms. And it's got a nice, you know, manicured trail. Public land access, bike trail. Now you have to have your weapon case when you're walking a trail, but you can walk on this trail, go back to the public land. And this is a very large piece. I got on some bucks back here. I know a lot of locals hunted back here. And recently we started running into some pretty big bucks back there. So me and Eric really scouted the hell out of this. We spent a few days back there, picked out some tree stands, picked out some areas, figured out how those deer were traveling, how they're feeding, how to land laid, and really learned that land a lot better than I had known it in the past. Really put some time into it, 3 solid days. Then I came back day 4, when I opened up Onyx, no longer said DNR. It had some guy's name on it. So I called the warden. And the warden said, no, that's DNR land. I don't get it. He says, let me make some phone calls. So he calls me back and he says, well, talk to the biologist. Like, apparently he sold the property. And if you look at this, now this whole area is giant swamp, wilderness, perfect for DNR land. A lot of this is private, but this was a huge property right in the middle and could have been built on. All this stuff around it, as it came for sale, could have been bought and added to that property. This was a great location. The property itself was a great property. The people that hunted there were mostly the local people, trying to escape all the people that come here from the cities and towns and go to the main properties. We had places like this that they didn't know about, that we could slip back to and hunt and get onto some big deer when like rut came around or gun season came around and those properties got overwhelmed. But they sold this on us too. And when I called the biologist about this, he was really kind of short with me. I just called and I says, hey, this property got sold. I want to know why. And he kind of made the comment, because guys like you voted for Scott Walker. I'm like, oh, you want to make this about politics? And he said, Scott Walker made a mandate to sell these properties. I said, okay, I'll look that up. So I did. I got off the phone with him, I looked it up, and the mandate was to sell landlocked properties. This ain't landlocked. There's a nice little parking lot over there. All these properties that I just showed you have good access. Matter of fact, there are some landlocked properties around here that they never sell. They never screw with. Makes you wonder what DNR personnel lives alongside of them and gets to hunt those for free when nobody else can. Or what town official or whatever. Because they're selling these properties claiming they're landlocked. This isn't landlocked. A lot of people in this town hunted this property. A lot of big bucks were shot back here. And now our land's gone. And nobody asked me if they could buy it or sell it. Did they ask you? Just wondering. Because I didn't see a meeting. I didn't see, you know, a notice. They just sold it. Now, if you and your wife got together with another guy and his wife, and you bought a property to hunt, and one day you get there to hunt, and there's a road going through your property, and you contact your partner, and you're like, hey, do you know anything about this? He says, yeah, I put that road through. And you're like, you never asked me. And he's like, well, I own it. I don't have to ask you. That's what the DNR is doing to us. You know, then if you go a little further back and you find a corner's been sold, and he says, well, I needed that money to put the road in through the property. How happy would you be? We can't let the DNR or the governor, whoever's behind us, just keep selling our properties. Just keep manipulating them. Just keep doing this stuff without our permission. They need to have a meeting. And if we, the people, you know, decide we want a path through there to walk on, okay. But if we decide we don't want one, don't do it behind our backs so that you can get it through. deal with us after the math. After you rape and pillage our properties, then just tell us, well, it's already done, nothing you can do about it. I'm not liking that too much. Look at this habitat. Does this look deery or what? Look at the tangles in there. Deer could hide in there a million places. Now right here, there's a little river bottom going through, right there. Really nice area right here. Lots of wilderness and lots of crop fields, most of it private. But right here started public, right here. And this area in here was a little bit of a high spot that was public, surrounded by that swamp and stuff. And I had taken a couple doe out of there. I've had some interactions with some really big bucks. And one day, came out to hunt, and there's private property signs. They sold it. And then how do you get your trail cameras back? You supposed to go knock on the door and beg for permission to trespass? Unbelievable. Now they even have an address sign here. Whoever bought it put a road in to get back there for his hunting. It was obviously bought for hunting. Now they can say there wasn't good access here. There wasn't, a place you pull off the road. They can make up all kinds of excuses, but right here in front of me is a public land parking lot. It's where I parked when I hunted there. It's probably, you gotta walk about 75 yards, and here's the parking lot, right here. Just wondering, did they call and ask you if they could sell your property? They didn't call and ask me. Here where I live in Jefferson County, Wisconsin, I could take you to a half dozen properties I know of that have been sold in this area that they never notified me about. But what I can't do is take you to one single property that I know of in that same time frame that they bought for us. What are they doing with the money? Why are they selling these properties? Now this video is about Wisconsin. It's about the area that I hunt and what's happening to my land. But that doesn't mean it's not happening to your land in your state, and it's not being manipulated the same way. We all need to step up and hold these people accountable for what they're doing to our properties. One person can't do anything. They shut us right down. There needs to be an organized effort to protect our public lands. Once a property is public, it should always be public, unless a majority of the people decide that it needs to be sold. The majority of the people who own the property should make the decisions, not some bureaucrat. One day, you wake up, you come down here, and all these DNR workers are down here with a bunch of equipment, and they're putting in this trail. And they put gravel in, they cut out a path, they cut a path through the woods, they go right past these bedding areas, they go back through the most remote areas of this property. And we don't have very many big properties, in southeastern Wisconsin. This is one of the bigger properties. And they take the remote areas that we all love. We all love to have some remote, pristine wilderness areas in the southern part of the state. And they put a freaking trail right through here. And this is my property. This is your property. This is public property. They're the caretakers. Did they ask you permission? They didn't ask me permission. This is my property. There was no meeting. There was no board meeting or anything. If there was, it was hidden. They did this like in the cloak of darkness. They secretly come and do this stuff. Ruin these bedding areas. Ruin the hunting back here. The first year this trail was in, we made some complaints about it, and the complaints didn't only go on deaf ears, they kind of went on a bitter ear. These people come back and they snap at you and say, you're not the only one that uses that land. There's hikers and stuff that use that land, that want to enjoy those trails. I'd like to see where they voted for it. I don't know about you, but most hikers want to be able to walk through the wilderness and enjoy the wilderness. If you want to walk down a trail or a path or jog a trail, jog down the freaking road. This is for the animals. This is for the wilderness. I can't believe that they're selling this stuff off on us and developing our properties. So they sell all the small properties. Who knows what they do with this money? Then they come to these bigger properties and they ruin them. There's a spot on the other end of the marsh here where there was a cattail area that was surrounded by water. To get in there, you had to get wet. And that area, like nobody got in there. Just a few die-hard people. And when you get back here, the wildlife was crazy. Well, guess what? They went back to it, bulldozers made a land bridge to it. How awesome. You know, so now the animals got no retrieve. Maybe they got a good reason. How about we have a meeting and talk to the people who own the property about whether or not they want this stuff done? It might be a good idea. I was talking to a person from the administration of the DNR at a deer show last spring. And I asked him who he felt owned the public land. I didn't get the answer I was looking for. He said the federal government owns some of it, the state owns some of it, and the counties own some of it. And I said, that's not true. And he looked at me a little puzzled, and I probably had the same puzzle and look back at him because I expected him to give the answer that I was looking for. And I said, we the people own the land. Government don't own the land. State don't own the land. The county don't own the land. They oversee it. They're looking after it. They're working as representatives of me and you. We own the public land. Collectively, we should decide if a trail is going through our property, if our property is going to be sold, what's going to be done with that money. That's a decision that me and you should be making. And since then, I've been on a long, hard search trying to figure out how to get more involved in what's going on with our properties. Since a lot of places where I hunt have been sold, have been manipulated. And I've been frustrated when I try to contact people about it and ask why. It's almost like they try to sell it or manipulate it behind our backs and then deal with us afterwards. And their way of dealing with this is to say, well, that's already been done. There's nothing we can do about it. Better luck next time. You look at this area here and all this high brush and grass and stuff. And literally in Wisconsin, this should be all trees and you know, even some tamaracks and stuff, because most of this is underwater, or at least a portion of it is. And you look at this, and why isn't there trees out there? Well, it's because every spring the DNR will burn this so that they can remove all the trees so that they can plant pheasants out here, which are an invasive species to Wisconsin, to the United States. They're a Chinese bird that doesn't belong here. Now take that with a grain of salt. I like pheasants too, they're cool. But we're altering the landscape for a bird that doesn't even belong here. It's one thing you want to release pheasants and stuff, but when you start taking what used to be dogwood, red brush, great deer bedding, and you ruin it for a bird that doesn't even belong here, and claim that this is supposed to be prairie, which is hogwash. Did they ask your permission? They didn't ask mine. Then you got this trail here. Goes through this whole property. They mow it every week. Look at this, how it's nice and mowed, you know? Makes it easy access for people. Which, I don't know about you, but I'd rather have it a little bit hard access. Have some stuff that's a little more remote. Have some places where some animals can get back far. But, I don't know what they claim here, if they claim it's for, you know, fire access or what. But what it really is this is how they go back and release their pheasants. They're invasive species that they burn all the landscape to put back here. Who pays to have this mowed? I do. You do. Did anybody ask you if you wanted to pay for that? This is a swamp. Over there, there's a canal, kind of a river that always has water in it. It's another one right here. Comes around this side. Those were put in here long, long ago to drain the swamp. Doesn't completely drain it. Out there will always have water in it. That's why it kind of perplexed me to see the DNR out here all spring this year with big equipment. Me and you paying for it. Being out here for a couple months, few months, and digging ponds. What do we need ponds in the middle of a swamp for? And I mean, the amount of manpower and time they put into these ponds and digging these back here was insane. There's just so much time and money and effort to put these ponds in. And here I am standing over the top of one. This is what we paid for, this here. This is one of the ponds that they dug on the public's land. In a swamp that's already full of water. They felt they needed a pond here, and this is how good of a job they did. And this is just one of them. They dug a whole series on this whole thing way back here. And they put about as much effort into it as this one on the rest of them. And you wonder where they get the money from this? Maybe from selling my other properties. Something needs to be done about this. People need to stand up. You wouldn't let them sell, 3 acres of your property in your backyard without asking you. They should have to ask us, and they should have to justify why they're doing this. Not hang up the phone on us, not answer emails, not tell us, you're the one who voted for Scott Walker. It's getting out of hand. Look at this nice swamp here. Picked up a lot of sheds in there, shot a couple deer back there. Used to just pound turkeys back there. One day, I showed up and it was sold. They just sold it. Never asked me. Did they ask you? Just got rid of our properties. Look, now there's a gate here and a parking spot because now it's private land. So I've seen them sell a lot of properties in Jefferson County and get rid of them. I've never seen them buy one. Maybe they have and I've missed it, but they just keep selling these properties over and over and over again. And the ones they keep, they manipulate and ruin. I hope you enjoyed the video today. I know it's gonna tick some people off, and that's okay. You don't have to be happy with me, you don't have to like me. But facts are facts. This is our property, this is our land. And I don't mind if a bike trail goes through and a hiking trail goes through the middle of my bedding area, if the majority of the people want that. The majority. There should be a vote. There should be a meeting. It should be made public. It shouldn't be hidden in the cloak of darkness.